Okay. Thank you, Alex. Well, first of all, it's great that people here in Bioconservacion, they call me Paco, since it seems that we are familiar. And I'm very, very happy to be here again, since it is my third time. So I remember some faces of you. We already know each other from these 4 years, like people from all over the world. And I'm really glad to know new people who are coming to these meetings and being as a part of Bioconservacion. So thanks again for inviting me. Since I've been here, the other partners meeting, this time Bioconservacion asked me to talk about giving you kind of numbers, okay, to giving you the numbers about which is the post-harvest panorama all over the world, since all of you are from all over the world. And I needed to rush into to get deep into the databases and try to give numbers that hopefully they will give you a global panorama. In any case, I will give you these slides, so you will have it with all the documents of these presentations, and you will get deeper into those databases in order to look for example, for the product you would like to do in the countries you would like to find, etc. Okay, so I have divided my talk into these items, like giving you a world horticultural production, which is the actual state, and also about the trade market, with numbers of about what is being traded, and giving you the most important things about which are the main factors that will affect the quality. In our first talk, we have been seeing that there is a lot amount of food that it is wasted, that it is thrown away, okay? And I would like to give you some numbers about that, and trying to be all of us concerned about what we can do in order to prevent such food losses, okay? And finally, just one slide about what is been doing right now, actually doing about these possibilities to avoid post-harvest losses, and what I think that could be future trends about what should people, for example, like you, like this company, of other companies, technological companies, and also people like me, because I'm a food professor. I'm a post-harvest professor at the University of Cartagena. For all of you that you haven't seen me before, or you didn't know me, and I'm working with techniques. I'm working with post-harvest techniques in order to prevent from food losses and in order to preserve quality and safety. Right. So, what about the world horticultural production? Okay. I don't know if internet is working or not. It wouldn't surprise if it's not working.
You can try.
I already done, but it's not working. It doesn't get it. In any case, for looking for about which are the productions all over the world, there is a database which is the FAO-Stat. Here you have the link. Okay. Also in my presentation, you link it into the PDF, and it will drive you to the database, in where you can find actual productions and cultivated areas and surface and area hectares cultivated of all the produce in all the countries all over the world during the last year from 1994 until 2016, which is the last year we have numbers, and you can find the data you want. Just, I would like to point that if we see what is actually the numbers, which are the numbers for fruits and vegetables in general, we'll see a clear increasing trend. Okay, so there is a clear increasing trend into an increasing production of fruits and vegetables, an important trend during the last year, as we can see. We can see also that according to where are, for example, which regions are mainly producing such fruits, we can see like Asia is producing around 70% of the fruits, while Asia is producing more than 85% of the vegetables. What does it mean? It means that when that sleeping giant will wake up, we'll need to be prepared, okay? The other part of the world, because they have a lot of production, they are not doing so much exportation, but when they begin to export, we will have problems if we do not make properly things, okay? So be aware of that. There is another website in where you can find data about world trends of horticultural production, which is Statista, but even though it is actualized, the data are not so much actualized. But just to giving you an idea about which are the main produce which are produced all over the world, where we can see, of course, bananas, probably is one of your star product for this company. Also melons, watermelons, citrus, deciduous fruit, etc. Just to give you an idea, okay? If we already talk about bananas, probably could be your main horticultural produce. I would like from the FAOstat database to give you an idea about which is the actual market for the bananas, or which is the productions, etc. You see, in 2016, we've already seen an increasing again in production, and it's much more or less sustained the world production over 113 millions of tons. Okay. Mainly produced in Asia, which is with more than 50%, and Americas, they have much more or less the 30% of the market, right? Talking just a little bit about what's happening here in the European Union, from a total output of more than 400 billion euros, fruits and vegetables represents around 20% of that output of the agricultural industry, which is an important number. And what's happening about the prices, we'll see with this data, which are published into the FAO Eurostat statistic edition, last year edition. We are seeing an increasing price in fruits, okay, while for vegetables, it's during the last year it was a little decrease, but just little, but with an increasing trend from a couple of years ago. I'll give you all this data, in where you can see that in the European Union, mainly from the point of view of the vegetables or from horticultural produce, tomatoes, carrots, onions, while for fruits, mainly produce apples, peaches, and oranges, and you will have data of all the countries. Just to give you an idea, rather than looking into those tables, that you can look it by yourself at home if you are interested in, just to point out that vegetables, it's an important sector, the European Union, with around 14% of the agricultural output, and with a production in 2016 of around 64 million tons, with Spain and Italy as the leading countries, and the main products produced were tomatoes, carrots, and onions, okay? With an increased price by 2.5% compared to the 5 years average, and a decrease 1% compared to 2015. While for fruits, it's also an important sector with around 7% of the agricultural output, with a total production over 35 million tons, with Spain, Italy, and Poland as a leading countries, and with main products produced with that were apples, oranges, and peaches. In this case, in this time, as we already said, price index suffered an increase, where it was increased by 6.5% compared to the 5 years average, and it was increased more than 3% compared to last year, to 2015. I would like to talk something about the trade market. I would like to give you some numbers about the trade market. These numbers are extracted, I mean, they are from an internal MERS report, so take it as a recommendation. I mean, probably they are not that exact because it's what MERS are working with in order to work on that, right? So from that report, we extract that more than 60 million tons were traded in 2015, plus another intra-European Union trade of around 20 million tons, okay? And the main produce traded, as it was expected, was bananas with around 19 million tons, all right? And which are the main exporting regions? As expected, South and Central America traded around 12 million tons each, and followed by the Far East, Europe, and North America, with each one trading around 8 or 9 million tons. It's important to point that data were from 2015, and in data we have from 2016, an increase has been experimented. Okay, so it's an increasing trend into the trading, the fruit trading. In any case, just giving you more details about the banana trade, we already said that it was 2015 around 19 million tons, bananas and plantains, mainly from Central and South America, which traded around 2/3 of the exports, and followed by the Far East and West Africa. While the share of plantains, it's really small, it's less than 3%. In this case, just a few countries are trading, are exporting bananas, and in 2016, just the top 5 countries exporting bananas was responsible for more than 80% of the total amount, with Ecuador, which is the long life banana king exporter, okay, with 1/3 of the sales, followed by far by Guatemala, Costa Rica, Philippines, but it makes sense that Philippines is showing a descending trend, okay, followed by Colombia. I would like to point out in this table that the total trade has been increased, okay, after having a slowdown in 2015, and Ecuador and Guatemala and Costa Rica, they are increasing the volume trade, while Philippines are experimenting an important decrease of around 30% during the last years. Okay. More things to point out. For example, let's say emerging exporting countries, I mean countries which are not exporting so much volume, but are increasing importantly their exportations in banana. For example, Peru is exporting, it's increasing around 20% of the bananas that they are produced, and Nicaragua 10%, and India, okay, in India, like we already said, India is trading around, you see the numbers, 28, 55, 81, 115, more or less. So it's increasing yearly around 50%. So it's the beginning. I mean, it's a beginning, even though numbers are still very low. I mean, numbers trade are very low. It's an interesting market to get our eyes on, okay? To get our eyes in, all right? What about citrus? Well, citrus market traded more than 10 million tons in 2015, plus another around 5 million tons of intra-European Union market. Spain is main producer and it's mostly sold in the European Union, being very strong in lemon, lime, mandarin, and orange, and produces oranges near 4.5 million tons, mandarins around 3 million tons, and lemons around 2.2 million tons. In exporting countries, Spain is the leader in trading 3.6 million tons of citrus in 2016, while Turkey did around 1.5 million tons, followed by South Africa and Egypt. Okay. And for category, South Africa probably is the biggest one in grapefruit, Mexico the largest exporter in lemons or lime, and Turkey in mandarins, while Egypt and South Africa are the largest oranges exported, trading around 1 million tons each. From this market, you also have the tables, okay, in order to look for any other details that you would like to see by yourself. Talking about the deciduous free trade, 2015, more than 13 million tons were traded, plus another intra-European Union trade of around 6 million tons, with apples, with main exporters of apples were China, USA, and Chile, followed by Poland, Italy in the European Union. Apricots, with the main exporters Spain, Uzbekistan, and Turkey. Cherry, main exporters Chile, Turkey. Grapes, main exporters Chile, USA, and South Africa, and inside the European Union, Italy. Okay, peaches, main exporters Chile, Belarus, and USA, and within European Union, Spain, Italy, and Greece. Pears, around 2 million tons, main exporters China, Argentina, and South Africa, and within the European Union, Belgium and Netherlands. And finally, plums, with main exporters Chile, South Africa, Turkey, and inside the European Union, Spain. What about, or what can we talk about in this data of the citrus fruit? Okay, China is, as we said at the beginning, it's increasing their exportations around 10% yearly. It's also an important market to see what they are doing. Okay, tropical fruit, around 11 million tons, plus another 2.7 million tons if we take into account the intra-European Union trades. And products mainly are melons, pineapples, guavas, and mangoes. Avocado, it's around 1.4 million tons, with the main exporters Mexico, followed by Peru and Chile. Guava, mango, and mangostan, main traders are Mexico, India, and Thailand. Melons, with around 3.6 million tons, with main traders Mexico, Guatemala, and USA. And papaya, main traders Mexico, Guatemala, and Brazil. And pineapple, main traders Costa Rica and Philippines. Looking about those data, we'll see that according to commodity, the avocados market are growing around 15% in the last year, so it's an important increase. Okay, and talking about countries, Mexico, it's increasing around 20%, like Brazil. Okay, according to data provided of the table, so which are interesting data to look for in order to see how the market is moving. And what's happening until now? We are just talking about producer. Okay, we are talking just productions at the beginning of the chain, and we are very happy here at this moment. But what's happening during the post-harvest chain? During the post-harvest chain, there are some unit operations like sorting, packaging, storage, transportation, okay, marketing, retail sale, etc. And during those operations, there are quality losses. It's like a kind of a pipeline in where from those leaks, the quality is going away. It's very important thing because the consumer will get disappointed when they will see the quality. Okay? So which are the main factors that are affecting the quality during that post-harvest change? Of course, maturation, okay, the ripening stage. Maturity stage, of course, is very, very, very important. With an improper maturity stage, we will not reach the market. We will not reach our objective. And mainly, we have a long transportation distance. Of course, mechanical damages. Alex was saying something about the papayas, how they protect it. In some way, probably, it's not only for people who are pulping the papaya. It's to prevent bruising, okay? It's in order to prevent bruising and to prevent mechanical damages because they are they are really, really soft, okay? And from the environmental factors that will affect quality, we have several others, right? Among those, for sure, and with a long distance, temperature is the most important factor, right? Followed by humidity, atmosphere, ethylene, etc. All right? If we do not store, if we do not transport our produce according to temperature and relative humidity, we will not reach, in any case, near the 100% of life estimated. Okay? If we have our temperature and relative humidity outside the optimum ranges, we will not have a proper shelf life. Even though we use another supplementary treatments, like the ethylene removal, like the 1-MCP, like waxing, like whatever you want to do, if we do not store at temperature and relative humidity, it's impossible to do it. Okay, first of all, take care of that. And after that, you can add the supplementary treatments and trying to reach the maximum shelf life with the best quality. That's the reason why we are very, very, very used to seeing the newspaper, news like this. Didn't you see it? Like almost once a month. It's easy to find the newspapers, in the magazines, in the news, that a huge amount, in this case, 50% of what it is produced, it's thrown away to the rubbish. It's a lot, that 50%. Okay? So it's important to know about which is the food we are wasting and why we are wasting and where. Okay? Let's talk now about the food we waste. There are important reports known by mostly of the people who are working in this sector. Alex also was referring to that. Okay, there are some published documents, and they are stating that at least 1/3 of we buy, we are throwing away. It's a huge amount. Don't you think so? It's 33% of the food we buy, we throw it away. It's a huge amount. But this amount is even higher. Okay? Well, this amount is correlated about what part of the food we buy. It's concerning the products that we are talking here in this meeting, fruits and vegetables. In this report, which is from the USA, we can see that fruits and vegetables represents around the 33%. So let's say we throw away 1/3 of the food, and from the food we buy, 1/3 are fruits and vegetables. All right, you follow me? Okay. So, concerning fruits and vegetables, let's see which is the quantity we lose. And we can see that it's easier to increase all over the world 40% of the produce which is produced, the fruits and vegetables produced, they are thrown away to the rubbish, right? And no matter where, if we are in industrialized, in developed countries or in developing ones, because more than 40% all over the world are wasted or are lost. The main difference is that in industrialized countries, okay, the most wastage is at the end of the chain. Alex also was saying that. It's in the last step of the chain, in retail sales and in distribution, etc. While in developing ones, the most wastage are produced at the beginning, during production, during post-harvest, during processing, etc. Okay, so are several points into the change. And this 33% could represent more than 1 billion tons thrown away. Okay, and according to a very recent study publicated by FAO, we'll see again how from the total losses, 100% of losses, how in developed countries the main losses are produced at the end of the chain, while in developing countries the main losses are produced at the beginning. So we need to ask about which are the main causes of deterioration, of quality losses. We already said that maturity is very important. Mechanical damages after harvesting, decay, improper product temperature during storage or transportation, or a high dehydration, high water loss, okay? Undesirable levels of the gas concentrations around the produce, all right? Or an excessive delay between harvest and retail market. That's why, for example, there has been created several organizations in order to concentrate, let's say, knowledge and create educational programs in order to preserve quality, in order to prevent from food losses. For example, the World Food Preservation Center. This center congregates more than 20 research universities or research institutes all over the world. This is my university here in the southeast of Spain, okay, in where we try to give information mostly to developing countries in order how can they try not to lose such quantity of produce. So, getting back to my first slide of the presentation, we saw a clear increasing trend in productions. All right, you remember? And there are data that they point out that there is an investment of 95% in production, while the investment in research and development, in creating new processes, new technological things, etc., it's only a 5% destinated to prevent from food losses. In order, it's only 5% of the money invested in food, it's only for food preservation. So there is a big question we need to ask is, do we really need to increase production and to throw away 40% of the produce? Are we sure we need to do that? Or should we invest more than that 5% in post-harvest quality and safety preservation? Probably with these numbers, the answer is easy, okay? There are a lot of food just throwing away, okay, wasted from farm to fork, and it's easy trying to decrease such amount of money because knowledge is available. Okay, as I told you at the beginning, it's post-harvest techniques are there. I mean, we need to apply, but we need to apply them correctly. Okay. Even though that new technological developments should be implemented, we should invest more in research and development, and also education and training during the whole post-harvest change is required. Okay, People from the industry, producers, people from retail sales that I've never seen them, or very few of them are present in when we give courses or in congresses, in research meetings, etc. Okay, so that's a question that I want to just to give to the audience, and all of us will need to take that to answer by ourselves and to see if we can help in this thing of reducing this wastage. So there is another question, which is, okay, I'm sure all of us want to reduce post-harvest quality losses, but how can we avoid it? It's according to the main factors affecting quality. Let's see what we can do. For sure, developing new varieties, it's one of the things, and the maturity stage, okay, as we said at the beginning. But besides the maturity stage, we'll need to avoid mechanical damages, okay? Avoid mechanical damages, trying to avoid incorrect handling and storage practices that Alex also showed it. I mean, all of us talking about this, you just go around the world and you see a lot of things like that. It's easy. I mean, bad election of the cardboard boxes, or mechanical damages due to accumulation of produce stored, etc. Okay? There are technological innovations, for example, to reduce mechanical damages, like the impact recording device. Probably some of you have seen it. Okay, you can put it and they will give you information about the impact that the fluids are suffering, for example, in packing house, right? In order to prevent for how to get all your lines all together, in order to prevent from important falls of the fluid, etc. Okay, I don't want to give you much more information about that. But another important thing, and probably one of the the most important, temperature. Temperature. Okay, I have a professor, Adel Kader. Some of you have seen something about post-harvest. You will probably have heard about him. And I took a 400 hours of course with him. Okay, and the conclusion was the most important factor, temperature. The second most important factor, temperature. The third one, temperature. Fourth, temperature. And 5, temperature. And I say, come on, I've been studying 400 hours of this, and you say temperature. That's right. That's the key. Okay? And after that, we look for other parameters. Okay? And temperature should be applied, especially when the difference of the temperature between harvesting and the storage temperature, it's very increased. Okay, probably we've been talking about that. For example, like Alex said with Ron Wills when he was proposing avoiding temperature into the cargoes for bananas. But if I'm not wrong, probably you can correct me. He will say at the first point is bananas, which is a temperature which is 13. Okay, probably he didn't say that. With strawberries or peaches or other products that should be at 0 degrees, all right? And if I'm not wrong, the experiments he conducted was within New Zealand or Australia, if I'm not wrong, Australia, which is 4 days, 5 days, or 1 week, something like that, if I'm not wrong. But that was what Ron was showing us 2 years ago, okay? In any case, for other products, okay, temperature, it's very important. I'm a defensor of temperature management and trying to apply as soon as possible. So you have techniques like pre-cooling in order to do it at a constant rate, okay, avoiding fluctuations in order to prevent from condensations that will lead to fungus development, all right? And of course, with avoiding accidental freezing. There is a thermometer like that, when you can see 2 kinds of fluids, which are the chilling sensitive products and not chilling sensitive produce. Okay? For those chilling sensitive, or the tropicals, the banana, etc., the temperature should be around 12, 13, over 10 approximately. Okay? And from the non-chilling sensitive, trying to lower down as much as possible and as quickly as possible. All right? You will have better quality and a longer shelf life. Another important factor to avoid post-harvest losses, decrease water loss. Decreasing water loss by increasing relative humidity in the air. You can do it with humidifiers, with storage, transportation, or with washing, coatings, with packaging also. Packaging, it's useful to increase relative humidity. Another important group of techniques are supplemental treatments, we already said. You can include here whichever you know in order to increase quality, in order to prevent from quality losses. They can be physical, chemical, biological, etc. Physical with modifying the atmospheres in the surrounding of the produce via packaging with modified atmosphere packaging, or in storage rooms, in CA storage, or with sanitizing, UVC lights, or chemical, whichever fungicides or whichever produce, chemical or 1-MCP, etc. Okay, or biological. Okay, and last one, how can we avoid post-harvest losses? Air filtration and purification. In this part, you guys have a lot of things to do. Okay, it is your market. Okay, trying to avoid CO2 accumulation, trying to avoid ethylene accumulation. Okay, you can reduce contamination. Okay, by filtration, and destroy elements in the air like ethylene and other volatile organic compounds that also are responsible for odors, etc. Okay, you know your products better than me. You have these filters, sachets, or machines, okay? And you do a good favor to the product, especially when it is needed, okay? And there are produce in where this kind of produce, this kind of supplemental treatments are really, really, really important, are really, really, really needed, especially banana. But there are others, okay? And there are others that should be implemented. So what's our target? What do we want to reach? You remember the first slide of the pipeline? What we want to do is trying to patch or to put some stickers, okay, into this pipeline in order to prevent the quality losses and to reach a happiness in the consumer, the same happiness that the producer have into this market. Okay, so just one slide more about my opinion. Okay, here we are in a free world, a free opinion. So what? No, I mean, what do I think we should invest more? For sure, not to invest 95% in production and 5% in food preservation. I mean, that balance should be more equilibrated. Okay? And what do I think we should go? In which direction? First of all, developing new varieties. Okay? Improve varieties, it's easy to think about that. And increased use of effective post-harvest techniques. I mean, knowledge is available, I've already told you, but you go to companies and they are not using that. When you talk to them, why are you not using that? Because no, it says, no, it costs 3 or 30 euros the pallet. Come on, 30 euros you are selling a pallet of strawberries or whatever, so it's not money. No, but don't want to use it. Okay, you should, because it's better for your produce, it's better for your quality, and you will prevent from quality losses. So if you make a complete study, it's worthy to use post-harvest technology. Innovation in packaging, or packaging. Of course, going through the way that biodegradable packagings, but increasing many other things. Okay, should be an active packaging or intelligent packaging. I mean, this way is still under development. Okay, there are a lot of investigations about that. Temperature. But what happens? We still don't have a worldwide known technique about how to monitor, how to map temperature during the whole change. You guys are doing a good effort into trying to develop that. I guess you have a talk this afternoon about that. Trying to improve this market of temperature management, okay, and temperature monitoring, right? And relative humidity, which is, in some cases, they are giving you that information. I would rather say ethylene emissions and other things, but it's still a step forward. I mean, at this time, we'll just get in that level. If you invite me next time, we can go a step forward. But at this time, improving traceability and giving information of all the produce at the time of the market of what has happened before, that'd be a very good chance. And we have the technology available. Okay? We have the technology available, and some markets they are doing that. And also developing non-destructive sensors for quality testing and sorting. If we are able to sort with a non-destructive system, if we are able to sort at field in our packaging or whatever, fruit that will not be consumed, imagine all the amount of money we can save rather than giving this fruit to the consumer, to the final consumers, hundreds of miles away, and then the consumer will throw it away to the rubbish. Okay, so these are the things that I think we should look for in the next future, and that's all. So hope to be on time, Alex, and thanks again for inviting me. And I'm free and here for questions.
Now's your opportunity. You can grill Paco. Is there a question? Well, if there's nothing, I'm just thinking of something.
There's one over there. Alex, there's one.
Oh, there is one. Oh, okay. Good.
You said bananas are number one for ethylene control, and then you said there are others. What are the others?
For example, persimmon. Persimmon. Apples. I mean, there are all of the produce you need to avoid ethylene. Okay, an ethylene removal, an ethylene scrubber should be implemented. For apples, we all know what it's been doing. Okay, but for persimmon, also the same. Kiwi, avocados, whichever. There are a lot.